by the way, because I've got a take coming up. In fact, you know what? I'll transition this to my take. Because my take is about vitality. I even think the reason why Ziwu isn't on any... And no vitality players made that list is exactly for the reason of my next hot take. So my hot take is this. I'll just say the old preface I've said many times before. I'm not joking. I have actually been a fan of Counter-Strike and been around the scene and played the game since the very beginning of Beta 1 in CS 1.6. You know when you had a 1 ID instead of a Steam ID? I had a 4-digit 1 ID and mine began with a 1. So I was on the first 1,000, well, 2,000, it was over 1,000 obviously. So I had like 1 AK sharps, for example. So I actually did follow the whole game, and I always say this, I never claim I watched every match. Spoiler, I wouldn't even now go back and watch a fucking group stage game from WCG 2003 between a Macedonian team and a Chinese team, would I like? But I always say I watched all the big matches in all the big tournaments ever, and so I got to see every team and every player. And I have to tell you, one thing I have hated this year about the fact that Vitality didn't win except one time in Cologne is the way people have talked like it was Ziwu 1v9, all of Na'Vi sucks, and they're just not good at anything. I don't get it, because here's my hot take. I've seen a lot of Counter-Strike, and I think this Vitality lineup is one of the most underwhelming lineups of all time, only in terms of the trophy cabinet. If you actually look at like the makeup of the team, imagine we're making like, you know, a FIFA or an NBA game, and we have to rank, you know, the ratings of the players, and then the team rating, like firepower, offensive ability, right? If I was to run you down, Kassad, like what we said about making a Falcons team, if I was to make this team for you today, it's fucking insane. You'd go, we can win everything. Think about this, right? Star player, I'm going to give you Ziwu. Not only is he going to almost certainly be a player of the year candidate, and by the way, at every single tournament he goes to, he can or is an MVP candidate. And I just said it. I did it as a shitty joke on Twitter, but I believe it. You know what? If there only were group stages, this guy would be the GOAT of CS. He is so insane when in group stage games. He is bonkers. I can guarantee he's going to top that scoreboard every time. He's that insane. So as a star player, by the way, then add in, now he plays Mega with the rifle, and he was already a pistol god. Unironically, this guy actually is like one of the best stars you could ever start your team with. Then if I add in the players, I've always even thought the genius of Spinks and Flames is because they're not actually anywhere close to Ziwu, that's why they're streamlined, and then their style of players are the opposite. So they fit around him in the team. Spinks is the slightly more passive lurker, and by the way, they definitely sped his arse up this year. And then Flames is the like super aggro, just go in first and shoot 2 people in the head really quickly, streaky rifler. And then you've got like Mezzi just does everything you ask of him, can do any role in the team, self-sacrifice. And then Apex is like I just call like the hero players. I want to be like French Carrigan style IGL. If you go look, right, the lineup's mega. They have totally enough firepower and fragging. Absolutely. You go look at their fucking map pool, by the way. The map pool is the crazy. This is why I know you guys, not you, I mean like plebs. I know plebs don't look at the Veto because I'm not joking. Vitality, the whole year, has had the best veto in Counter-Strike. I'm telling you. Because one of the things they did that shows how cracked their lineup is, they pivoted through the whole map pool if you go through the whole season. If you start at the beginning of the year, that was when like they could play the Vertigo and stuff like that if they needed to. Then they kept pivoting through. Eventually, by the way, when Na'Vi was supposed to be the Kings of Mirage, they became the best Mirage team. By the way, by the end of the year, they were gods on fucking a nuke. Like they went everywhere. When Dust 2 came out, they immediately embraced that. Their nuke, by the way, is insane. It's actually fucking bonkers they could even lose that to bloody FaZe, by the way. They should never lose to anyone on nuke. You go through the map pool, I'm not joking. They basically have a veto where they could actually fix it up. And I almost never saw them ever play a team before a series began. And I looked at the veto and I was like, it's like, you know, I even told you this can happen to Na'Vi. Na'Vi can have the wrong team. Team Liquid, believe it or not, actually matched up veto-wise very well into Na'Vi. Nobody matched up versus Vitality in the veto. Nobody could ever get a clear edge in the veto. So if you add all these things together, and at the end you tell me I won one prestige event, it wasn't even the major, and then even worse, I was in 1 billion semi-finals. And by the way, if you went back, I'll guarantee most of those semi-finals, they were like the favourite to win the match, and they didn't. So I'm actually not doing this. That's why I did the big build-up. I'm not doing what the Ziwu fan does and saying Vitality shit. I actually think the pieces should have been incredible. This should have been like a historic season where they should, by the way, they should have been the team of the year. They should have won 2 or 3 of the prestige events. They could have been in the finals of almost every event and won every event. And Ziwu, by the way, could have been the MVP of every year. Like, the potential for this team was so crazy. And then at the end of the year, you look at it. This is why I get why there are all those rumours, which I've heard are real, about all the discord within the team and people want to leave or this guy has to get kicked. Because that's what happens when you're in a fucking team where it's meant to win and you don't. I think it's insane how underwhelming this squad is. Like, it was like this close, but this is where your rule finally applies, Kassad. Being close, like as a team, to be team of the year doesn't matter. Who gives a fuck if you were second in top four? Top four when you should have won. That's bad. That's a bad result.
Yeah, that's what
do you guys think?
Remembers that.
There's my hot take. I'm talking about historically too. I think this team could have been one for the ages.
Yeah. Listen, I think that you are kind of right, but also let's examine the Vitality lineup though. You have Zaivu, right, who is a generational player once in fucking how many years, right? That it will, just pop up and do everything right, like you said, pistol, rifle, AWP, clutch, good teammate, whatever, everything, right? And then he adapted to CS2 pretty much. He had no oscillations at all, like it was just straight up from one game to another. Now that is the problem for me. When you say Spinks, when you say Flames, we're thinking about the CSGO Flames and CSGO Spinks. Are we not? Because look at the beginning of the end of Spinks, right? Before he went to Vitality, he was a god in ends that fucking role. Unbelievable, fucking unstoppable. Like one of the biggest reasons they were like so good that they rose up as a team, and then you know their history. But after that, but the thing is, like when he transitioned into CS2, is that the same player? I don't think he is. But we're looking at him with the same eyes. And
I think he's still good, personally. I think he's still very good.
No, he's good, but is he that good? That's the thing.
Put it this way, when you do that game you did earlier, where you go like star for star, second for second, right? Let's say like we do that game, right? Aside from Monacy and G2, who has Nico as their second star, which second star is better than Spinks and all the other teams?
Second star, then Spinks.
Yeah, you pick one. Which team has a better second star except for G2?
Does it have to be the same role or
no, just the second star player?
It's basically just Nico for G.
Is that it? Isn't
it? That's like the only
isn't it just Nico?
Second star.
Is it just
I
Nico?
think it's just Nico.
I mean, maybe Frozen, maybe Shiro.
I mean, I think Spinks is better than Frozen. And here's the other thing. Then when you do the second thing you did there, go to the third again. Flames is a pretty good third player, mate. That could be a second player in another team.
That's my point was the same one for Spinks as well. CSGO Flames is mentally fucking crazy good, right? CS2 Flames, is he the same player? Oh, maybe he is. Like, maybe I'm wrong, right? I'm not saying I'm 100% right because I don't know.
Flames is better in CS2. Spinks is worse in CS2.
I'll give you that.
They've kind of.
I think it's only by a little bit as well. I think you'll make it sound massive.
You have Apex, right? You have Apex as the IGL. I don't have problem with his IGLing. The style is fine.
No, I think he's good. Yeah.
I think he's good.
The problem is that the position that he is taking. I think he's taking a little bit more than he needs to.
Yeah.
In terms of resources and the positions. Like a little bit more. I understand he's the captain. They're allowing him to do that. He's like the veteran, whatever. But maybe step back a little bit and take less and give Spinks more or Flames more. Right? It's just a thing. And then Mezzi, right, is the fifth player who has been bouncing roles for the past 4 years.
Yep.
And we expect him to do great things, like whatever the fuck. It cannot be like he needs to be consistent.
By the way, there's another one, Kassad. I'll play the same game with you. So you've picked him as your fifth player. Name a fifth player better than Mezzi.
Oh, I didn't pick him as a fifth player.
Fourth then, whatever. You can. By the way,
he could be fourth.
I think Mezzi's underrated in his role because of the team. Look at when he fills out the squad. He's fucking.
Let's say he's fourth. Fourth. Hunter is a better fourth player.
Shut the fuck up.
Aye, come on, man.
Because you're doing that thing where you're not talking about in G2. In G2, Hunter is.
But Rain or Brocky is a better fourth player. Anybody in Mouse that you put on four is better than him.
You know what? I might give you the Rain one. That might be possible because big stage angle. That Hunter, fuck right off, mate. Hunter. The joke with Hunter is like, I've done this joke too many times, so I won't do it on a desk again. It's that one of like he wasn't even playing CS. He just had the VIP experience in G2 where he had a VR headset. He's like, I'm in the team. All shit. I'm following Nico. You're supposed to be fucking shooting people, dickhead. Like, that's why I did that joke.
No.
You will appreciate it because you're a football fan, Kassad. You know where it said in that interview that Hunter said, my goal is to help Nico win a major. So I put Hunter this year and I put Darwin Nunez, because if you don't know Maui, he's a striker for the team I like, and he's famous for being probably the worst at scoring when like the goal is like blatantly obvious you should score it. So the joke is, it's like this guy could fucking miss like an open goal and Hunter could this year, mate. Whatever happened to
I don't think so. I think like how many times has Hunter like delivered on a stage?
Barely fucking ever. Do you know what's mad, Kassad?
No,
you've done exactly what you just said earlier. Actually, do you want to know who had a way bigger drop off? Hunter from fucking CS2 to CS2, more than Spinks, mate. What are you talking about?
I think they're pretty much the same.
Hunter was a Player of the Year candidate on that fucking esports awards last year. He wouldn't even be G2 Player of the Year candidate, bro. That's a straight fire point, by the way.
Listen, you are going crazy now. Well, I'm saying he did drop off, but I think him and Spinks are pretty much the same in terms of dropping off. The bottom line is what I'm trying to explain.
All right, you have Hunter, I'll take Spinks. We'll keep making teams like this. You can have Nico, I'll have Donk. Keep going. I'll keep making these trades all day long, mate. At the end of the day, I'll have my team, you'll have yours.
Donk. The thing is, like, it's right that you're riding the wave now. Would you take Donk at the beginning of the year? No. But the thing is, like, or whatever, like, where were we? We were talking about vitality.
Yeah,
yes.
And the fact that they're underwhelming. Like, I think they could have been one of the all-time great teams, for real.
Listen, like I said, the thing is, like, we named all 5 players right now. And also, there is a matter of the coach. You said the Vito, the map pool is great, but is the Vito great or the map pool is great? What did you say?
I think the map pool is very good. I agree that I think the coach might be one of the weaker areas.
The Vito is not.
I think also, it's possible the coach is dodgy.
You have to take into account that Apex tweets something like, it's hard to win a major when you don't have a real team, when you're not a real team. What the fuck does that mean? Does that mean that like things are not working out? Like, is that the reason why Flames or Spinks are maybe different in CS2 than in CSGO? Is that the reason why I'm getting that picture?
Unfortunately, that's not going to come out for a while, I can tell you. I do know something, but that's going to take a while before.
It doesn't fucking matter. The bottom line is what we see from the outside. Like,
sure.
Like, if you're watching CS, you see that.
Yeah.
You see that Spinks is different. You see that Flames is different. And we think, like, yeah, it's the game. What else can I think? Like, can I fucking read their minds and say, oh, these guys are fucking fighting on practice, and Flames is always late? How the fuck do I know that? I don't know that. So I'm saying
what I don't get is, isn't he just like making my point for me, Maui? That the team on paper should be that good, but then they have all these issues. I think he's just making my point.
Yeah, let me. I don't know where this one's
going. What do you mean?
So I went over during the
player
disagree
break.
With you. During the player break in around June, I made my top 20 of the year, and the team that had the least success to the amount of players that were in the top 20 was Vitality.
Right.
That obviously changed. Like, they had 3 players that you would have considered top 20 players in Zywoo, Flames, and Spinks. As of the player break, they had nobody that was at, or they had no trophies, period. Not even prestige trophies, just trophies. By the end of the year, they end with just the Cologne trophy. Obviously, probably the third, to me, it's the third most important tournament of the year behind both majors. But to have only that to look back on, it leads to them being a pretty underwhelming team overall. I don't, like, it's kind of awkward. Like, it's weird because
here's the question, Maui. To make it specifically how I did it, am I then overrating them by saying they could have been an all-time? Because I'm saying, by the way, they could have done. Look, they're not like Astralis 2018, but they could have been like a defining team. This should have been their years, not Na'Vi, if they played the way they could have. I thought. Like, I always thought the final of Cologne showed it. In my opinion, when this team hit peak form, no one could beat them.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I think with Vitality, like, to take off the whole like hot take mask right now and just actually some real analysis about this team, I feel like when I watch them play, there's always this one time per tournament, or it's usually in the playoffs, say like quarterfinals, semifinals, where it just doesn't look like anybody's talking to each other with the exception of Apex. Like, I feel like that's also, I mean, that is what they've talked about in interviews also, especially losers interviews, where it's just that people don't begin to talk or whatever. And I think that, like, this is why I kind of think that Spinks is maybe in a team setting overrated, because as an individual he's fire, but as an actual teammate, I think he's pretty bad, because let's just say that might be the vibe that's echoing out into the scene. But no one's going to say it yet. No one's going to say it yet. That's my take on it right now, because it feels like he's the quickest to point the finger at his teammates who aren't doing what they should, but it doesn't also feel like he's not a secondary leader by any means. He's a first up backstabber, tertiary leader at best.
Okay.
So
that was good. Yeah. That was good. Write that one down. That one can work.
Fuck him and something like that.
That line can work again. You can reuse that one. First, he's the first place backstabber, but third place, whatever.
Tertiary
caller.
leader.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. I like it.
Tertiary leader, yeah.
I like it.
I think the thing is though, also Mezzi should be I thought Mezzi was going to be a better voice on this team because he was the whole IGL for Fnatic, and then but I think that when he joined the team, that voice kind of got ripped away from him.
He's not that guy, man. He's not a vocal guy.
That's
like,
what I mean. He's not.
Much.
He was forced into the IGL role, and tactically, I think he was good at it, but he just doesn't really live as a captain. Like he's not a secondary captain. He's not like
he's not the captain. He's not the general. He's a good soldier. He is a fucking guy who is gonna be good on the battlefield, and then he's gonna listen to the orders and like all these things.
Exactly.
So,
he's a soldier, and that's why Stewie 2K remains underrated. Okay, I'll sign off on that.
See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, be a pleb and don't.